What might have been a big deal was a lawsuit that was being put together at the time that could have affected the industry. Raven, Chris Canyon, Mike Sanders, and others are all going to join in and try to sue the WWE. And it all boiled down to the whole independent contractor versus employee lawsuit. This was something that had everybody talking. Was this at least something that you and Dixie were discussing? Hey, this could change everything, because if a ruling happened that affected WWE, it would in theory affect you guys as well, no?
Sure. And it was always, and look, from the day I got in the business, my accountant, who's still my accountant today, his first boss or mentor was my dad's accountant. And so I can remember having conversations. When did Jesse, when did that whole union, was that mid 80s when that first talk came out?
No, it would have been very, very early 90s.
Okay. I remember hearing those conversations as far back then. And then when we got together with Panda and kind of, I'll call it year one, my father would have long conversations with their legal team, just kind of, because again, they're an energy company, and getting them to kind of understand the independent. Like, you're an independent contractor, but you can't go work. Well, no, we're not preventing them from work. From the naked eye, it's like, how in the world does that exist? Because it had been so different until the late 80s when WWF and WCW, our listeners know that whole story. But as it came on the scene, here we are, and I totally forgot about this until I read the research. I just remember WWE is going to react first, period. That is at this stage in 2009. There was the WWE and publicly traded company. They're definitely going to set the standard. And we have to wait and see how it affects them. Was there conversations between me and Dixie? Yeah, probably, but nothing in depth.
Talk to me about what happened in San Juan. It looks like there was an arena booked for March 20th. It was an 18,000 seater. They had announced Kurt Angle versus Jeff Jarrett. They're also going to be using LAX, and it's an 18,000 seater, but it winds up getting canceled due to a poor advance. Is this just you not having the right local promoter down there, or was it a tactical error to book such a big building? Or talk to me about what lesson we learned here.
We were running live events and doing, sure, the statistics around, let's say 2,000 a show, and a promoter in Puerto Rico probably had a lot bigger ambitions. No, they did. He booked it. It was a Balt show. I think it was canceled when he didn't send his deposit, because I don't ever recall. I think I'd recall sending money back. But he just thought he could do more, and it probably had seen a WWE, and then, on the island in Puerto Rico, music and a lot of American acts go down through there. We weren't anywhere there. We had no business, or let me say this: the promoter had no business booking that size arena. Like, ludicrous. But it was the third party's decision to buy the show, and we executed. I'm assuming we executed the contract, and then he put tickets on sale and says, "Well, I'm out."
Let's talk about Danny Bonaduce. He's set up to be working this lockdown show in Philadelphia, and I guess it doesn't go all that smoothly. At the time, he's been working with Hulk Hogan Celebrity Championship Wrestling. We had just talked about that. That aired towards the end of 2008. And so here we are in the first part of 2009. So he's fresh off of that experience. He's got a mega radio show, and it's going to be him versus Eric Young. And Eric Young is actually going to come out and say that his match is a letdown. Quote, at one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, wrestling you, to be honest, it's kind of a letdown. It's nothing against you personally, but it doesn't do a lot for my wrestling career because I'm a professional wrestler. And I guess the story is Bonaduce was pretty pissed off when he found out from reading the Observer, or someone told him it was in the Observer, that this match was going to be a dark match. And he's going to be adequate or adamant rather, that, hey, the only reason I'm doing this is to get exposure for my radio show. I'm doing it for free. I'm not getting paid. So I'm doing it for exposure. It can't be a dark match. And then he's told, No, you're on the free 30-minute pay-per-view special. Okay, he's back in. What do you remember about Bonaduce here?
I love it. He was on Hulk Hogan's Celebrity Championship Wrestling, and as you described it, what is the hold on. Work shoot, brother.
Yeah.
He was a Philly and a hell of an athlete. And I'll do my best, Conrad. Hey, folks, go out of your way if you want to be entertained. He's a really good athlete. And Eric did fantastic. Bonaduce did fantastic. We didn't have to write a story. That was the story that we just crafted and twisted and a little bit here and a little bit of there, but it played out exactly as it was supposed to play out. I mean, that's what's great about our business. And I don't know if Meltzer was, who knows with Dave. As every day goes by, he's a little bit more of a head scratcher. But so did he really think that we're going to go to Bonaduce and his radio show, if I remember correctly, at the time was red hot in Philly, and we're going to, hey, we want you to come wrestle on this show, but we're not going to tell you you're not on the show. We're going to put you on the free pre-show.
The March 26th edition of Impact does a very good rating. It's up against the NCAA tournament. It has 1.7 million viewers. It does a 1.26. It's a decent show with a great in-ring segment with Mick Foley and Sting. There's a promo with Kurt bringing up that you're the founder and the booker. And Meltzer says, just once I want to see a movie where there's a big star who has creative control and he beats up the villain. The villain gets up and says he used his creative control. Or better yet, before the fight scene, the villain is storming around saying the script says I have to lose the fight at the end, so I'm going against the script. Can you imagine the reaction of people watching the movie who've invested 90 minutes and get hit with that? That's TNA every Thursday night. What do you think of that criticism, Jeff?
Take myself off mute. I'm dehydrated. I'm parched. What do I think of that criticism? Honey, I have said this many, many times in a creative room. I didn't say this, but to make the simplistic, he's spot on. Too much inside baseball, it just dispels like the Bonaduce thing. Why pull out why reveal all the magic trick? Or well, there's so many different ways to say it, but there's no upside to that. And yes, the follow up. You think Russo did that? Yeah, I would almost be positive it would be a comment that to kind of go one step further, but that's the balance that we always fought. But no, I just don't see any upside in saying, hey, you're the booker. Kurt, I call it the kick-ass version of Kurt, the serious. There was no upside in that. So I think it's healthy criticism.